Okay, you penumbra, savage, uh, gumption walkers. How's it going? It's your friendly neighborhood Kamikalo Z coming at you live via recording during isolation day. I don't remember. Maybe 22. Feels like it's been longer than 22 days. I guess in just sheer isolation, has it just been 3 weeks? Did like a week and a half in Texas, or a week in Texas, but a few days travel. I don't know. I don't know why I'm suddenly realizing that now. Anyway, I hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing pretty good today. Um, today, throughout my studies in computers and programming, I've uh, I've done a lot of scripting and a little bit of programming, but I've never done. I can't say never. I haven't gotten a lot of experience with object-oriented programming, and that's the big thing these days is object-oriented programming, um, and I'm not going to go into details about what the differences between programming and object-oriented programming are, but one of the things I will do to test out my uh, capabilities, my skills, um, is I have this basic thought of like a text based um, uh, RPG, and it's not like super complicated. There's really nothing user interactive involved. It's more or less I create a few classes with different attributes, and then I have those different classes fight each other and show what the potential result would be. And so each class has four attributes, and all four attributes are the same across all four classes. You got like rogue, warrior, mage, and brawler. And so I assign different attributes to different ones based off of the conceptual thought of them. And you have basically the total number of stat points equals 30. So you disperse them out so that they can equal, they can anywhere from 0 to 10, with the total of all four stats added together equaling 30. So I I've been learning a lot of Python object-oriented programming, and the notion of self. Every time I try to tackle it, I get interrupted, and while I'm trying to learn it, it just gets so frustrating because of the interruptions that after like a week of trying, I just stop. And so it's like how CSS was for a while for me. Trying to get any kind of website up, even information based, was just the bane of my existence because I could not figure out why my CSS file just wasn't rendering, wasn't working. And so it was a long time before I figured out that with certain servers, or with all servers, the web server is looking in a specific place for that CSS file. And even if you try to absolutely qualify it, it still doesn't work. And so you have to put all your CSS files into one particular location. And when I figured that out, that was like, oh, this is great. And I was able to play around with it, and it's not a big problem anymore. Now for this, today I tackled what self means in Python. I was looking up why that's there, benefits of using it, when it's not good to use it, and so I thought, okay, I think I have an okay understanding of self and why it's used. Let's do the RPG program that I've practiced in the past. And in the past, it's taken an entire day or more to get something out, and it's usually very long, hundreds of lines of code. So I thought, okay, this time I'm gonna create each character as an object, and then the objects are going to interact with each other over a few methods. And so if you're not a programmer, this is going to make a heck of a lot of sense to you. But the result of all this is that I got it done in 2 hours. And not only that, but I was able to also set it up to have all the different classes fight themselves, versions of themselves, and all the others to see what would happen and who would come out victorious. And there's dice rolls involved, so you could have differing scenarios that come out as a result, but it ended up being really, really good. I was very happy after just a couple of hours to get it done. Started to realize why object-oriented programming is so good. It condenses the code, makes it easier to read, makes it easier to interact with, and after you understand how it interacts with everything else, it just becomes just so much clearer. There was an obstacle right at the end there of the difference between calling a method and calling a method that you want to pass an object to. Because in the past with just scripting or with non-object oriented programming, you just had to pass in the right variables. But with an object, because the object has properties, you can't just pass in the properties as variables. You have to pass in the notion of the object and then qualify the properties as variables. And I didn't understand that, and I didn't know that, and that was probably 30 minutes of Googling to figure it out. So after I figured that out and the proper way of initializing those methods, as objects, I flew through the rest of it and was very very happy. Sorry, a big bug just flew straight into the glass door. Some people call them birds. I don't. Anyway, so I got done in 2 hours what in the past has taken, when I say a day, I mean 14 hours, 16 hours, an entire day of just straight up scripting. You can do it via scripting, it's just takes a lot longer. And you end up jumping around and you end up breaking things up into files to make it easier. And with this, it was, I forgot how many lines of code, but maybe 80 for the whole thing. And then from there, I got curious about how objects work in lists and dictionaries, and tried using different ways of solving a program that makes rock, paper, scissors, and then a couple of other ones. And I've been building these out because I'm going to start getting back into unit testing, and I need programs to be able to unit test. And I need them to be fairly basic because my unit testing skills, kind of the same thing happened where I started into them, kept getting interrupted, couldn't figure it out, got frustrated, left it alone. So using Python's unit test framework, with these different programs I've been writing out today, I'm going to go in tomorrow and write unit tests for all of them. After that, I can start taking what I've applied and jump into work stuff and figuring out how to implement the mock as well as the functional aspect into work. Anyway, feels like I made a lot of great progress today. In short, feels like I made a lot of great progress today. A lot more than I've been able to make in the past. So I'm feeling really good about that. But yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way of how I can like explain object-oriented programming versus regular programming, but my mind's kind of mush right now. It's feeling a bit fried. I'm just, yeah, kind of at the beginning of things, and anyway, yeah. So I'm. I don't know what I'm gonna end up doing tonight. Oh, just talking to my pop about the canopy idea. He's discouraging me from keeping this as a permanent fixture on my truck, since the PVC over time will warp and eventually break, and if the wind catches it at the right moment, it'll turn into a PVC shrapnel bomb that will end up damaging a bunch of cars on the road, and I don't want to have to deal with that kind of mess. So he suggested that I use PVC and make it something that I build out. So I basically have a box of PVC pieces that are labeled, and I put them together like PVC Legos to create the canopy whenever I go camping, and then attach the canvas around it, and snap it into place, and then set it and secure it on the truck. But until then, it's just, it's in a box, which means I'll keep the current cover that I have on the truck for ease of storage of those kinds of things. So yeah, I still got to go to Home Depot, which I'm going to do on Saturday. It's Thursday today. And pick up all the PVC. Still got to do all the measuring, but if I'm going to do it that way and not actually have it be a permanent fixture, I can play around a lot more with the dimensions, because I was just going to do it to the height of the cab and then a little bit wider than the cab. But if it's not going to be used in that kind of capacity as a permanent fixture on the truck, then I can do a little bit more with it. So I might end up getting a lot more PVC at Home Depot, so I can play around with some design ideas. Like I don't want to get too fancy with it, but like the area for where I'm going to be sleeping, I almost said bed, and we're talking about trucks. It doesn't translate well, but where I'm going to be sleeping on that surface, that was going to be the ground, right? But if it's going to be taller or wider, then you don't want to be standing on a mattress all the time. And so I have like a pump and a bag in there that I was going to try to shrink the memory foam mattress down into. And that will help get it out of make it a little bit less obvious, but that may not even be entirely necessary, right? Because if I can figure out, like, the main trip for Home Depot is just to get all the PVC to make the frame out of, and figure out ways to attach it. That's it. However, I also want, because of the stress test from that really was like great, so much better than I thought it would have been, or could have been, or should have been. So like, because it was able to withstand my entire force in such a small area, I could potentially make like, and this is down the road. This isn't now. It's down the road. But I'm going to do some testing with PVC. But I could make like platforms on the truck, Like if you can imagine that in the bed of the truck I have my sleeping area, and on top of the sleeping area is a platform where the legs of the platform go around my sleeping material, and on top of that is like, I don't know, some like a board, a big piece of plywood, and that I can stand on, right? Because then if I can have everything compact down and fit in the bed of my truck underneath the current cover that's there, I can have everything in there filled up, go and find a place to camp. Once I get there, take everything out of the bed of the truck with the exception of my sleeping surface, and then put everything together and start stacking it onto and in the bed of the truck to make like a pseudo extendable camping area. So the bed will be underneath, and then on top of it, above it, maybe a couple of feet, will be a platform, and on the platform you could have a couple of chairs if you wanted to, or maybe even a little cooking area. I don't really know. Maybe set up another sleeping area with like a hammock, but then have the top, the canopy piece that I'm making right now, have that be extendable going up, so I can make it as tall as I want, and use like bug netting around it, and then use some sort of lift system on the top, so that as it goes up, the bug netting goes up around with it to keep it somewhat intact. And then when the day is done and I'm ready to go to bed, I can bring the canopy back down, and it might be resting on the top of this platform, but we'll keep things nice and enclosed. It's kind of hard to explain. It's in my mind, it makes sense in my mind. Doesn't mean it'll work in real life though. Anyway, I'm having a good day. I'm having a very productive day. I'm having a lot of success in the things that I'm thinking about and the things I'm trying, and that's very positive and helpful. Yeah, I'm just eager to get the rest of this figured out in preparation for Saturday. I don't know if I have the mental strength right now to sit down and try to figure out all the PVC pieces that I need. I might do some rough guesstimations, I suppose. And if anything, figure out something and add like 20%. So if I end up saying, okay, I need 10 foot lengths of 1.5 inch PVC, then I'll get 12. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at today. Feeling good, feeling motivated. I hope you are too. And gosh, just if you're not doing well, just let me know. Leave a comment. And I do see all my comments, especially from the people who are trying to get me to sign up on their fake subscriber website. Those are adorable. But yeah, you'll have to try out something your own. Let me know how it works out, and have to compare notes and pictures. But I'm gonna go back inside now, grab something to eat, maybe try to sit down and do some estimations about how much piping I need. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Keep smiling, and we'll see you in the next video.